Hey, welcome to the next episode of Shuffled Strats. As you may or may not know, this is a series dedicated to showing you glimpses into the hilarious and unnecessary depth that the game Sonic Shuffle for the Dreamcast has. This video is unscripted, unlike the first, because with the first I sounded a bit too robotic, so I figured I'd try to just go all natural and see how that works out, see how y'all appreciate, you know, the less scripted variant of myself. So, going on to the tactic, right? As you can see, there are only 6 cards left, and this is actually pretty significant because if you look at the discard pile, right, there are only 3 1s and 3 2s left, meaning that really nobody can really move anyone right now. So, the movement of the game is essentially stalled out. No one will make any progress with how the cards are right now. And if everyone uses up all the cards without actually getting into the battle, what this means is that Chow, who's fourth in the turn order, will get a fresh deck, and Knuckles, who's after that, will get a fresh deck as well, essentially with only missing 1 card. And I personally don't want that because I want to maximize the chances of me getting to the last Precious Stone, because this is at the end of the game. Knuckles' cards are visible because of an Eggman card that he had picked last turn, which made his hand visible for 2 turns, but that's not really relevant here. What matters is what cards are accessible, which is just 3 1s and 3 2s. I want the fresh deck. So, by chance, I had come across an item earlier called a Hypnotite. And what the Hypnotite does is that it lets me discard all cards of 1 number, but I have to pick that number through roulette. So what I opted to do here, right, is I intentionally decided to throw away all the 2s, which then cuts the remaining cards in half, leaving everyone with 1s. And the reason why I did this is specifically so that I have a easier time getting to the 6, or not the 6, getting to the Precious Stone, which was at the time 6 spaces away, and moving 1 space away brings me to 7. I could have moved forward to give me a 5, but I didn't want to trigger anything, so I wanted to play it safe. So by positioning myself like that, what I ended up doing, right, is not only is by cutting the available cards in half, this means that by the time the rest of the party used all the cards, I would be the first person who has access to a brand new spanking deck. That means I'd have the full deck of 28 cards to use from to maximize my chances of getting the Precious Stone. And then also by moving away by 1 space, I am gambling a little bit on the odds that I get one of the 3 S cards, because every time the deck is reshuffled, the 3 S cards get distributed to 3 of the 4 players, and the 4th player gets an Eggman card. So I was playing the odds, and then I was also manipulating the deck rotation and trying to place myself in a position that I have the most amount of cards to access, and then limiting what options the other players have even more. Because since I threw away all the 2s, all the other players can only move 1s, which basically completely halts their progress for 1 turn. And I think that is a pretty cool usage of an item that I got like way long ago. So, because of this strategic usage of items and card manipulation, ultimately I ended up with an S card next turn, so my gamble paid off. It was a 3 out of 4 chance that I would get the S card, and that was a pretty good gamble, right? So that paid off, and then ultimately what happened was that gave me the opportunity to go straight to the Precious Stone, right? And then engage in the boss battle. And since it was a fresh deck, not only did I have an S, but I also had a full hand of cards that I could use to actually fight the boss with. And because of that, I ended up winning. Barely, but I still ended up winning. So this is the type of stuff that I talk about when I say Sonic Shuffle is an incredibly deep game for no fucking good reason. And that's basically it. Thinking several turns in advance like this ends up... See, okay, yeah, that's why I didn't move up 1. It's because I would have gotten into a battle, and that would have been an automatic loss because I only had 1 cards at that point. So there you go. I protected myself. I set myself up for the next turn. I ultimately ended up with a pretty good chance of winning by gambling on getting an S card in my new hand, and then I limited everyone else's movement for at least one turn before they can do anything else. So that's the tactic, and that just came from like just one moment of me just thinking, what can I do to like really secure the W, you know? So that's it for this episode of Shuffle Strats. I hope that you find this interesting. I hope that you find this engaging, and I, hope that me not being scripted, wasn't really all that boring. All right, peace out, y'all.